I'm Tanya Franklin, and welcome to Tricks My Dog Taught Me, a podcast for lighthearted and occasional deep conversations with family and friends, revolving around my journey as a dog mom to my little guy, Zach the toy poodle. And it prompted me to self-publish my first book, Shit My Dog Taught Me. And it's where I share some of my insights through poetry and weekly life lessons. So for today, I've invited a woman who is immense in her wisdom, grace, strength, who loved and raised and spoiled several dogs over the years. And she happens to be one of my absolute favorite people, my Aunt Debbie, Deborah Harris. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You. How is everybody? I know this, but you guys be patient with a senior.
And so we think about dogs rolling over and exposing their belly. Wonderful.
Okay.
Oh, thank you showing up my book. I appreciate your support, Aunt Debbie. And so this one section in particular, it's about a dog being able to say, I trust you not to hurt me. And what I think is really interesting is for us humans, it's not the same. And the idea for us showing that underbelly, sometimes it can be terrifying. But dogs, they know all about that and the idea of vulnerability. And so today, what I want to do is talk about what happens when we as humans let our guards down using week 28's poem Be Vulnerable as the basis. So I want to start off and share the poem with you and our listeners first, just to give you some context. Be vulnerable, roll over. It's okay to expose your belly. Sometimes be vulnerable. So relatively short, but I think there's a lot going on in there. As you know, Aunt Debbie, Zach is my first and only dog, but you've had quite a few over the years. And I'm wondering
Yes.
if you had to pick just one who was the ultimate master of the belly roll, the one who was just the softest, most trusting soul, who would it be and why?
It would be Brutus. Brutus was
Mm-hmm.
a 160-pound mastiff, English mastiff. He was a huge teddy bear. He only acted like a guard dog if his tell was when people came in the house, I would tell them, when you come in my house, he's going to lay down and he's going to roll over on his back. Your job is to take your foot and give him a belly rub with your foot. If you do not do that, he will not trust you because to him, it's a simple thing. And he's going to side eye you the whole time you're in my house. And people who followed the rules, he went on his business. He went up and down the stairs. He would come and sit down, but he didn't care one way or the other because you followed the rules. But if you did not follow the rule of giving him a belly rub, and I would have people say, oh, I just don't want to touch him. And I said, it's 2 seconds. He doesn't want like a long one. And you're using your foot. You're not even bending down. And I had someone come in and they refused to do it. And he sat by my side the whole time because to him, that meant you weren't trustworthy. My
Mm.
master told you the rule. I watched her tell you the rule and you didn't do it. So you're not trustworthy to me. And people were surprised that that was the only thing that would make him sit and be. And like I said, he was a big softy, 160 pounds.
Mm.
He would come and lay on me, a big old bear. But he wasn't a vicious dog. I've only seen him go like vicious dog one time. And that was because someone approached me on Valley Green and they were aggressive coming towards me to see him. And he did not like that. And he growled, but he didn't lunge at them, but he growled to let them know I don't know you and you're running towards her. And I don't like that. So
Mm-hmm.
he was the one that I would have to say, he exposed his belly when you came in the door. And it was just a thing. And it's a weird thing. And I realized it was a weird thing, but it became his thing. And
Mm,
I think dogs sense things, a lot of animals do, that we as humans have learned to suppress. We have an
mm,
instinct that tells us stranger danger or something's not right, but we've suppressed that. And animals a lot of times don't. Like you ever walk by somebody and you have your dog and your dog is just like you feel them bristle and you wonder, well, what is
yes.
up with the dog? The guy looks okay. Your dog senses something about that person that they don't like. It's something. They don't know what it is. It might be innocuous. It might be just that they had, I don't know, too much alcohol to drink. But your dog sometimes senses something about them. So I'd have to say Brutus.
And so on the flip side of that, which of your dogs was the most guarded, the one who, you know, people really had to work to earn their trust before they would let anyone rub their belly?
Apollo. He
Mhm.
was a Doberman Pinscher. He was very protective of everybody in the household. Marissa can tell you that they went for a walk to Pagano Steaks on Oganza Avenue, and they were holding the leash, and the adults went inside to get steaks, and somebody came over and got too close. Now Marissa's about 8,
Mm,
and they got too close, and Apollo was just like, no, no. He was very, I'm on guard all the time. I don't trust none of y'all. None of y'all are family. I I'm not laying down and rolling over for none of y'all except these people. And even
mhm.
among them, I was the alpha. I was the one that he would basically say, okay, I'm gonna give up my status as being the person who can bite and tear everybody apart to you. Everybody else is underneath you, but to you. But he was the most guarded. He
Mm.
was, and he was a good dog. It wasn't like he was vicious. He just, I don't know none of y'all. I don't trust none of y'all. I know my family.
Mm. Zach definitely is more like Brutus, where he rolls over for just about everybody. But every once in a while, when we're on a walk, it's like just something where he's like, you know what? Not you.
Yeah.
Not you. You're familiar with the rap artist DMX, it starts off like that. "Urgh," and then he goes, and I'm like, Zachy, what's the matter? And he's like, not them.
And it makes you pause and go, well, I'm gonna listen to my
Hmm.
dog because, you know,
Exactly.
he doesn't seem to do this with everybody. He
No,
just seems
no,
to,
he does
but
not.
he doesn't like you. So I'm gonna pay attention to my dog because my dog hasn't let me down when it comes to that. So
Exactly, exactly. Like, even when, like, and we're talking about vulnerability, uh, when we're in that period of daylight savings where it gets dark earlier and it's really dark still in the morning, and we still go a similar route. In this one area, it's near High School Park and it's heavily wooded, however. If it's dark, Zach's like, "We're not going through there." What's the matter with you? How I got more common sense than you? Why you would go through this park when it's pitch black? And I'm like, oh, and he'll look at me like, what are we doing? Why are we going through this park? What is the matter with you? And so I'm like, yeah, he's right. Let's not go through the park in the dark. So, which I appreciate because there's times when I'm not on guard and he's like, you need to be on guard.
yeah.
I can do but so much. I'm just a toy poodle. I can do but so much. So yeah, but they say that dogs can smell fear. And they can also have a sense of when we're sad or something's going on with us. Did you ever have a dog or maybe Brutus or Apollo who knew exactly when your defenses were down, or they would just come sit with you when you might have needed it the most?
Hey, Brutus again.
Hmm.
I know Blade did that. He was another Doberman with Marissa because Blade was basically Marissa's birthday present. And whenever
Hmm.
Marissa was down, he would always climb in and like lay on her until, because he was a Doberman. So there's that terrier aspect of him until it was like squirrel. and then he was off doing his thing. But, for me, it was Brutus. He would come, he would lay on me, and it was even to the point of where when he passed when he was 13, it's real old for a big dog, and, I had to get someone to help me put him in the car because I couldn't see him suffer anymore,
Mm,
and he gave me that look like, "It's okay." That look
mm,
like, "I know you're doing this for me. It's okay. It's okay." And it broke me. Even now I'm thinking about it, I'm getting I'm
mm,
getting emotional. But it broke me because I thought, even though he's suffering, he's looking at me and giving me a like, he wasn't growling, he was giving me a look like, "It's okay. It's
mm.
okay." So animals are underrated,
Yes.
as, uh, comforters. Now my cats, that's another story. They could care less. They're like, "Lady, look, you're on your own." Even though, like Marissa's cats, they're totally different thing. Like, they're especially Zeus, like, he climbs all over her and everything, but my cats are like, "Look, lady, are you feeding us? Is it canned food day? If not, we'll come over in the morning for rubs and stuff, but after that, like, hey, we're not this. We're not a dog. That's not our life."
Mm.
But dogs, I mean, you see them even with people who are without any resources, who are homeless, who are drug addicts,
Mhm.
and their dogs love them. All they want is for you to show them some kindness. Whereas humans, they got a whole list. And even
Yes,
when you
yes.
fulfill that list, they're still looking at you like you didn't do enough. So
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
it's totally
Yes.
different with animals.
Mhm. I think that's one of the reasons that I was drawn to this idea of even with the book and all the different lessons that I learned from Zach and that idea of kindness and how they don't want as much as we do. And I actually saw this reel not too long ago, and it was talking about how with them having a shorter lifespan, that there may be something within them that they know that. And so then they even have a greater appreciation for us and for those moments together. And I just thought about, wow, we need to be more in tune. Not, and I don't say we, because there's some of us who are, and I try my best to be, but I think that there's so many people I encounter where that's not the case.
Exactly.
And it would be
Exactly.
nice if more of us were. So,
Because a lot of us
yeah.
think we have forever.
Hmm.
A lot of us
Hmm.
do. We think we have forever. I don't have to be nice right now. When I'm older, I'll change. When I get what I want, then I'll change. My life will be great as soon as I get what I want, instead of enjoying what you have now. I
Hmm.
tell
Hmm.
everybody all the time, I'm grateful. I've had trauma, a lot of trauma, younger when I was younger, and stuff as growing up. But I'm grateful now. I'm very grateful that I wake up every morning knowing my name, making it to the bathroom. I have
Yes.
family and friends who, if I said, "I'm just feeling like I need something," they would go, "What do you need? Can we do
Hmm.
it for you?" And I try and do the same thing for other family and friends. I have friends right now that are going through dra- terrible things you can't even imagine. One lost their child,
Mm.
and one is going through a real bad health crisis. And my thing is, in the morning, even though I am a C drama and a K drama person, after I do my workout, and basically I'm in front of the TV or reading if I'm not doing some DIY stuff, I try and text them and go, "Are you okay today? Do you need anything? Do you want to go to lunch? Do you want to take a walk? Do you want?" Just because I realize that even if they don't say they need it and they don't reach out, maybe if I do, they might say, "Well, I wasn't thinking about it." Like my one friend, she was like, "Well, I wasn't thinking about it, but if you want to go to lunch," I'm like, "Yeah, let's go to lunch." And not
Mm.
anything extravagant. But I think, as humans, we tend to, like I said, we think we're going to be here forever, and we're not.
Yeah.
And none of us know. And so our job while we're here should be, none of us are perfect. And I got my bad days, but it should be the blessings that you have enjoy them and spread them and share them.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Trying to hold on or compete with someone else or some imaginary standard of beauty or wealth or whatever it doesn't really help you as a person. I don't think. But that may be just me. I don't think. I think trying to enjoy your life and live your best life, we all love material things. But when you make that your primary focus, like I know people who are like, well, when I get on my bag or when I get a BMW, when I get this, I'll be happy.
Mm,
Really? It's nice to have. It wouldn't be a car I would have. It's never been on my list, but
mhm.
you know, is that really gonna make you happy? I mean, you'll be satisfied with the dopamine hit for a while, but a year down the line, you still gonna be that thrilled when you take the keys to drive it away? I don't know. Animals are like, throw the ball. I love the ball.
Yes. Let's just sit outside and catch a breeze.
You know, I'm serious. I go over to pick up, Elliot, I take her to school, and Adonis is like, I gave you the ball, lady. Throw the ball. And I'm throwing the ball constantly for him. But he's like thrilled, give me a belly rub. I'm thrilled, and humans were like, we got a whole list of things,
Yes,
you know, do
yes.
you
And
take
even
me
in just
here? Do you buy me that?
That's right, that's right. And even just speaking of humans, I think that how sometimes we're classified, in our case, we're both Black women, and I think a lot of times that title, strong Black woman, that armor, I think that a lot of times it may even put us in positions where, to use that dog analogy, we don't really get to roll over and
Right,
relax.
right.
And so I'm just wondering, you even mentioned that, when you were younger, different things that may have went on. Growing up for you, 70s, 80s, did you ever feel like you had to keep your guard up at all times or most times?
I went to a 90% white high school. And this is 69 to 72. Black power was a thing, and the Afro pics and say it loud and black and I'm proud. But the school I went to, we had 94 blacks in my graduating class, a class of 1,200. And so there was always a sense of I had to feel as though I had to prove myself twice as hard. Like, I wasn't allowed to say, "I can't pick that up. Could you pick that up for me, Bobby? I wasn't allowed to do that. That wasn't what I was allowed to do. I had to be the one that was like, "Oh, move out of the way. I can lift that." And you grew up kind of that way. I've never been able to be that way. It, I don't know if I don't know if it's shaped by my personality as to why I can't. Or it's, I don't know if it's nurture or nature as to why I can't. But I know there are a lot of Black people who cannot, and Black women who can't. Even at work, when I was a nurse, you know, I would say, "Can you help me pull such and such up?" And they would go, "Oh, there's not that much. You can do it." And I'm thinking to myself, "Yeah, I
Mm,
could do it, but it's just easier, so I don't have to do too many yoga classes on my back if
yeah.
you help me pull this patient up." I was in a car accident one time. A lady, like, head on hit me because she crossed the double lines and she head on hit me. She got out the car. She was allowed to cry and boo-hoo. She
Mm,
hit me. She totaled my car. I get upset and they tell me, "She's crying. Can't you see she's upset?" I said, "She totaled excuse my language, my effing car. How how
mm,
how how are you so worried about her?" And it's because she was not Black. She was another
mm,
ethnicity. We're A lot of times we're not given the same deference. Like, we can't be upset. And we've learned, a lot of us Black women, we've learned that since we can't, we go to anger.
mm,
Anger is our armor. Anger is, you're not going to run over me. You're not going to tell me, because we've been in those positions where we've tried to do the soft thing and we were told we can't. And so we say, well, then if we're going to be strong, we're going to be strong throughout. And people don't see that sometimes that anger is that defense mechanism. It's not that we want to be, but it's you put me this way. My life experience has told me that I can't. My life experience has told me that if I tell other people, which I've told them at work, like they'll say, "Oh, he's acting like an animal," and I go, "Don't do that. You're dehumanizing him. You can say he's acting like
Mm.
a fool. You can say he's not doing the right thing. You can say he's cutting up. But as soon as you say that a black man in your care as a nurse is acting like an animal, now you've pushed him down below a rung where you don't have to treat him the same as you would a white male."
Mm.
And when I've said that, of course, instead of them sitting back and going, maybe she's right, they go, "Why are you so aggressive?" It's like, I'm being assertive. You,
Mm.
I, again, same thing with some dog breeds. People think pit bulls are naturally aggressive, and they're not. It's how how nurture has influenced them.
Mhm.
They're not. Achilles was like the softest. He was dog aggressive. He was crazy dog aggressive. But humans, oh my goodness, he was like, "Can you throw the ball? Can you rub me? Can you do?" But nurture can make, I think, almost any dog into that, so that they don't feel
Mhm.
comfortable enough to. Their human told them, "This is how I have to be." My human told me to do this. My human raised me to be this aggressive. So
Mhm.
they can't show their soft side. And I think especially with a lot of black women, when we're around our friends and our family, yeah, we show it. We're like, "Hey, how are you?" We laugh and we're joking. But we get outside and we realize the world judges us differently outside of
Mm.
our friends and family. And so we can't show that soft side all the time. And when we show an assertive side, we're labeled aggressive.
Mm.
I came to the conclusion a long time ago that I was going to be a damned if you do, damned if you don't person. If I tried to be soft, it was going to be a thing of, no, you can do it because you're a strong black woman. And if I was a strong black woman, it was like you're going to be aggressive. So I learned to just enjoy who I was.
Yes. 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 It took me some time to get there and just say, "I'm gonna
And the
just be
rest of you
me."
can just like
Mhm.
accept me or not.
Yeah.
When I was at work and I would hear things like, "Oh, you're just being aggressive," I would just smile and walk away. I wasn't going to feed into the trying to explain myself to you because you've already shut down. You've called me aggressive, so I nothing I say is going to change that. So I would just laugh
Mhm.
and walk away. I would say what I needed to say, and in this world, you can't please everybody. We just had that guy call Michelle Obama a man, that
Mm.
UFC fighter at the trailer park event that Trump had on the White House
Mm.
lawn. And at the end, instead, when he won his match, and instead of saying he's like, "I give praise to God," which that didn't sound Christian like what he did, but "I give praise to God, blah, blah, blah." And he said, and everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man. And he said, "Am I right?" And people in the audience laughed and thought it was funny. And I
Mm.
realized that his fear was that a strong woman who was intelligent and beautiful was still on his mind 10 years after her husband was out of office.
Mm.
Still on his mind. He knows she's not a man. But to him, if I can ridicule her and make her, it doesn't matter to her. She's still going to do her podcast. She's still going to write her books. Her and her husband are still traveling, doing their things, enjoying their children, their family. But in his mind, she's strong. She's intelligent, Harvard and Princeton educated, a lawyer. What else can I say to demean her? I know.
Mm.
Dogs don't do that to people. Animals don't
No.
do that. Animals are like, "I don't like you because of something I sense," or "I don't like you because of the way you treated me," or "I don't like you because of the way you treated my master."
Mhm.
Not because I saw a cocker spaniel over there And that Cocker Spaniel gets on my daggone nerves because it's a Cocker Spaniel. It's got long hair and I've got short hair and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
humans, we do that. We look and we go, I don't like you because you're ABC. And dogs are like, I just don't like you because I'm a little dog and you're a big dog and I'm afraid of you. Not because you happen to be a German Shepherd, but and I don't like German Shepherds in general. I'm a little dog, you're a big dog, and so animals is a lot more pure, I think.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
and even in you just bringing that up, it makes me think about how dogs, they're just so incredibly resilient and how they bounce back. They can have a bad day, a scary interaction, and, a few minutes later, they're completely relaxed, ready for a belly rub on the rug. And I'm just wondering, you mentioned about humans and that difference. Why do you think it's harder for humans to not only let their guards down, and be vulnerable, uh, but to be in that positive space?
I think so many of us, like you said, a dog will let it go. It's like, "Oh my goodness, that person just didn't throw the ball at," or say, "Get away from me." And, "Oh my goodness, I was just trying to come over and say hi." But then he'll see a new person, he'll be like, "Hi, how are you?" Because he let it go. That was a moment for him, and
Mhm.
it's gone. For humans, a lot of us hold on to it. I'll say the majority of us do, but some of us learn to let it go. And some of us say, "Okay, maybe she was having a bad day. So I'm not going to judge all people with red hair and freckles because this person with red hair and freckles did this to me. I'm going to say maybe she was having a bad day. So the next time I meet somebody that has red hair and freckles, I'm just going to wait and see." Most humans don't do that. Most humans have an interaction with someone of a different culture if they allow it, because too many of us live in our own bubble and don't want to expose ourselves to other cultures or other races, religions, whatever. We like where we're at, and new makes us different, makes us a little uncomfortable. And humans a lot of times are not good with the uncomfortable. So they may have an interaction with, we'll say, somebody who's Muslim, who's wearing a hijab. And they might have an interaction with that person who's a little short because she was thinking about something. She had to rush, get her kids from school, and she had to plan dinner. And she had, she still had a prayer she had to do. And she had promised to make this other sister another hijab or whatever. And her mind was preoccupied. So she was a little short with you. And instead of thinking to yourself, wow, she was short with me. That was horrible. The next time you see somebody with a hijab on, you go, see that? I bet you she's gonna do the same thing. You haven't even opened up yourself like a dog would do to say, well, maybe she's gonna be good. She's gonna throw the ball. You haven't even opened yourself up to do that. You have already put up a preconceived notion. And that's what prejudice is. It's a preconceived notion of what you think someone is because of a past interaction or because of what you've been told. And instead of opening yourself up like an animal would and say, maybe this could be different, we go, no. People do that with religion, with cultures. And I find, unfortunately, it's really a lot of Americans. I have been to other
Mm.
countries and people are like, oh, and you travel, they treat you badly. And maybe it's just me. I have only had like one negative interaction in the countries I've traveled to. And that was my fault because I was speaking Spanish. And even though I can speak enough to get by, I mess up my verb conjugation every single freaking time. And when I get frustrated with my verb conjugation, my voice goes up. And the guy looked at me like, who are you yelling at? And I remember, Debbie, you're saying it the wrong way, but you're getting mad at the wrong person. It's
Mm.
not his fault you're saying it the wrong way. But I've been to France, and they say the French are very rude. Never had a bad interaction. I've been to France twice. Been to Ireland. I loved Ireland. I mean, Belgium, Brussels, Holland. Never England, you know, never a really bad interaction. It's Americans because we go with a preconceived notion. We go with, I want it to be like, but then I hear from English people that they do the same thing when they travel too. They go to some other country and they have a
Mm.
preconceived notion. So maybe just a human thing that we want it the way we want it. And the dog is like, "It's the day where we get extra canned food? I get a treat, a bone, chicken, a bone?" We don't do that. We go, "I want things the way I want it." And, animals are like, "I got a bone today." And, they're happy. Whereas humans, we have a thing where, we have to have everything exactly the way we want it. And then only then will be satisfied, even not content or happy, but a little satisfied, and animals aren't
Mm.
that way, you know? They're just like, "Yo, she threw the ball, man. This is a good day. Yeah. She threw the ball, I went for a walk. I got to mark trees as I went down the street. Oh my
That's right.
goodness."
And it's
I
funny
went
that you
to
bring that up. Yeah, because I was thinking about how when you said that, how even just going on a walk, a lot of people who are dog owners or dog mom dads, that in going on that walk, if you slow down with them, then you yourself get to observe nature and have a greater appreciation, and everything's not go 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 go, I gotta get this
Yep,
done, and oh man, I gotta do this. And so I find that if I slow down on the walk and I hear the birds chirping, or I notice something that I didn't notice before, and it's like, oh wow, this is nice, this is lovely, and I'm just appreciating something for what it is, and it doesn't have to be something that's grand, just my everyday environment. And that's something that I definitely say I got from Zach in doing that as a human. That
yeah,
and when you mentioned even the bubble, that our world can be as big or as small as we want it, like with you traveling. I think maybe that's part of the issue is that so many of us, our worlds are small, but for whatever reason, it seems big to us unless we're willing to step outside of our bubbles. And then we realize, you know what? My world that I thought was so big is really not. It's, so much more out there. And I need to be cognizant. I mean, sometimes I'm too cognizant, I guess, of what other people may be going through. And then I allow that to consume me sometimes. Because I
mhm,
would say that one of my issues is that I do have the capability of when people wrong me to constantly just keep coming back and be like, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this will be different. And I always say I look at everybody as an individual and not hold them accountable for what someone else may have done that looks like them or talks like
right,
them or whatever it might be. And I think that is something that we all could benefit from. It's a shame that and I've had some of my close friends who will say, "Oh, well, they're fill in the blank." And because they behave this way. And I'm like, well, I don't think, and I will tell them, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's true. And they'll say, well, that's been all my interactions. I'm like, well, if you're looking for that, that's what you're going to find. And if you're
exactly,
saying, let me be an
exactly,
open mind, then that will yield better results. To me, if you're looking for someone to be mean, you're going to find something mean about them. And if you're saying that, you know what, not all people are this way, then you're going to go through life saying not all people are this way. So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly. I mean, even as far as I think you have a lot of people who they live in their bubble because they live in a small community or whatever,
Mm,
and they come to the big city for school. And their first interactions with anyone of a different culture is in college. And they realize what some of their relatives had told them about these people, it's not true. It's not true about everybody. Like, you have good and bad in every culture, good and bad in every religion, good and bad in every race. But their interactions are, well, I was told XYZ has happened. I was told, that this is this. And okay, perfect example. I was in the 11th grade. We had to wear those stupid, you guys didn't have to do it. Those blue gym uniforms, just
Did
snap
not
up.
in
Oh,
high
you
school,
did?
but in middle school we had to wear them.
Did
You were
yours have
saying
the
when you
ruffle? Did yours have the ruffle
yes, where it
elastic
had like
around the
elastic at
around
the
the leg?
bottom. Yeah.
Oh, golly, they were
Yes.
horrible. And you can tell, like, I remember you can tell the people who have money because they had theirs embroidered, their name embroidered on there. And the rest of us, who didn't have money, to pay for that, we had to stitch our own names on there. You know what I mean? When I was growing up in high school. But I was in high school and I was changing in the gym, and this girl came to me and she said, my dad says that you guys, black people, have two extra bones on their coccyx. So it's not really a tail, but it's more like a stub from where you were. And I looked at it and I thought, and the other black girl that was with me in the gym said, what the heck are you talking about? I said, well, that's what my dad said. And I just wanted to know. I said, pulling down my gym uniform for you to see if I have what you call a stub of a tail. And I thought to
Wow.
myself, how in 1971, because this is in 1971, how in 1971 could this still be a thing where people pass this on to their children? But when you see some of these kids how they interact with Black people, Asians, Hispanics, how they interact with them, and their parents don't stop them from doing that, you realize it came from home. Whereas if you tell your dog, sit, your dog sits. If you tell your dog, lay down, well, my dogs wouldn't necessarily lay down. They would be like, maybe you want me to lay down, maybe I'm just gonna sit. But at least they understood that, look, this is the deal, this is what we do. There's no sense of you telling your dog, look, see that German Shepherd over there? No, we don't like them because that's a German Shepherd. And I heard that they're guard dogs and they come from Germany. And it's like, and your dog is probably not going to understand what you're saying anyway, but he would sense your anxiety over it. It's the same thing with humans. If we tell these things to people, your kids are going to feel that. And especially if you don't correct it. If you don't correct your child's negative behavior and you justify it, and you feel as though it's okay because your child did it to a Black kid or a white or Asian kid or Hispanic kid or a Muslim or a Catholic. You feel it's okay because they did it to them and not one of their own. You justify it. That's not right. You wouldn't do that with
Hmm.
an animal. If your animal went to go to try and bite another dog, you wouldn't be well, it's okay because it's a German Shepherd. You'd be like, no, 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 because that dog might turn around to bite you back. So you
Hmm.
know, it's not. It's a, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, except that it has to start from one person to one person.
Yes.
It has to start from one person standing up and saying, no, no, we don't do that. I just saw a social experiment on YouTube where, and it's two guys working together, but the people don't know they're working together. So white guy and a black guy. And the white guy walks behind the black guy and he puts a piece of paper, 8 by 10, 8 by 11 piece of paper on the black guy's back, like he's patting him on the back. But on the picture is a picture of a monkey.
Mm.
And the people, when he puts it on the black guy's back, he puts it on his back and he walks by and he goes, oh, sorry, blah, blah, blah. And the black guy's just standing there. And the people, they're filming. Somebody's from across the street is filming as part of the experiment, is filming these people interactions. And instead of people saying, wait a minute, that's not right. What? They're laughing. They're thinking it's funny that he's comparing this black guy to a monkey. And it's older people, it's younger people, And finally, you get one person who walks up and snatches it off the person's back, rolls it up and crumbles it. And in fact, she runs up to the guy after she sees him do it. She runs at him and she starts, going off on him for doing that. And he's like, wait, we're friends, we're doing an experiment. And she backs down and she sees the other person across the street filming. And she's like, oh, okay. And they give her like a prize of like, it's like
Mm,
candy or something. But they wait to see how many people it will be to stand up to say something about this. And it's little things like that. You teach your child, like if you see if a child is being mean to another person, you say, no, you don't do that. No, you don't smack them. You don't hit them or you don't do those things. The same thing you would do if, any type of prejudice. You say, no, you can't do that to them. It's got to start one-on-one. It's got to start with one person saying, no, we're not going to do that. It's got to start with, because we can't depend on the leaders to do it, pretty much. It's got to start with us because
mhm.
they've asked Republicans now, what do you think about that guy saying what he said about Michelle Obama? And first thing, of course, they denied that they heard it. We all know they heard it because they were all there at the trailer park fiasco that was on the White House lawn. So we know that they heard it. They deny it. And if they don't deny it, they say, well, can't you guys take a joke? It was a joke. And so we can't depend on them. We have to depend on ourselves, saying, look, I would not expect my dog to go around just attacking or jumping on people when I know it's wrong. So how can I expect you? How can I accept that you think that this is okay to go around and say? No. And it's not being unable to take a joke. It's just that it's dehumanizing. We've got to start one-on-one. I don't know what else to say. We've got to start one-on-one. We've got to start one person to one person. Um, I, at the gym, I make it a habit, especially if I see like somebody, you know, like looking really sharp at the gym. Yeah, because I can't wear those cutie cute outfits because I got I can only wear black pants because I'm sweating like a pig. I don't want anybody to think, oh my goodness. Grandma had a problem with her bladder. It's like, no, I'm just sweating, guys. So I can't wear the suit uniforms. But if I see somebody, I go, wow, that is so sharp. Hair. Oh, I love your hair or your jewelry or on the street. And I mean, this is to black women, to Asian women, to white women. Anything. I think it's just enough. And if I see somebody doing something that's inappropriate, I will speak up. I try to say it from a point of where it's my voice that they're comfortable with. You know a voice I'm talking about. I try and say it from that voice. Sometimes it comes out that way, sometimes it doesn't. But but I try to be the person that, okay, I'm not going to just sit by and go, wait, let somebody else do it. I think too many of us are wait and let somebody else do it. I see it going on. I see it happening, but I don't want to get involved because I don't know. Maybe this person might say something bad to me. Maybe this person might try to do something bad to me. There's always that possibility, but we don't know unless we try and stand up. So,
That's true. That's true. And even in you saying that you stand up and say something positive, I definitely make an effort to do that myself. Like you use the gym setting. That's how I've met a lot of my gym friends is by saying, hey, I love your outfit, or hey, that's a really cool move you're doing. I hope I can get as strong as you, or whatever it might be. And that's definitely and I think that a lot of times it also helps to create that positive energy because I feel like it helps to push that forward and then they may give that to the next person. So I'm wondering, like, when you think about not just you saying something nice, but who are the people in your life that help you in that way to whether it's when you're in a vulnerable moment and you might need help yourself or you just want someone to be able to just connect with.
yeah. I have a friend right now. Like I said, she's going through uh, a, a really bad situation, but she has always been, as they say, my ride or die.
Mm,
I can go with her with anything. good, bad, or indifferent. And she will listen, sometimes give advice, but most of the time just listen and go, you know what? We should go out and buy some flowers. And I'm like, I'm not buying no dang old flowers. But I get there and she knows that just seeing them, just smelling them, just all the senses that are involved, it takes everything down a notch to me. And even though I love all different kinds of music and she doesn't, she knows things that we can both relate to that will help me with whatever it is I'm feeling or going through. And I I I think that she has helped me in the long run to learn to be a more let go and live person. Um, Also my daughter, Marissa, she
Mhm.
used to always tell me, "Mom, you have control issues." And I do. I'm much better at it now than when I was younger. I needed if I can control everything, I can determine the outcome. But she has let me know, "Mom, you can't.
Yeah.
Mom, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't control everything." She has let me know, "You can't control everything." And so she has helped me to see in how she handles a lot of things because, she's had her, health issues too.
Mhm.
And she's always been more of a, all right, well, what we got to do type of person. And, seeing her go through the, okay, what do we got to do? I do the, okay, what do we got to do type of thing. And so it's, even though it's mother and daughter, it's still a thing of we help each other with some things. Now, she knows that I still have some type of control issues, and she lets me because she's like, "Whatever you want to do with the front yard, Mom, I don't care. I don't know. Whatever you want to do." Because I'm like, "We gotta do something with your front yard. We gotta do this. We gotta do that." She's like, "Okay, that's your thing. I'm gonna let you do it. Whatever you want to do, because that's your thing." Like she doesn't. She knows that I want a certain thing that she's like, "I don't care, whatever you wanna do with it, mom, whatever you wanna do." She nurtures that sense of, "Look, this helps my mom,
Mhm.
so I give it to this because I know this helps my mom." Stuff. Um, but I would say her and my ride or die. I and right now I'm feeling helpless because I can't do anything to make
Mm.
my ride or dies thing that she's going through any better. I can just support her.
Mhm.
But there's been like a few people, you know, there have been teachers, there have been people I like my boss, my first boss. She really like nurtured me to let me see that, I thought I couldn't do certain things. And she's like, "Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You're smart enough. Come on, look at these people. You're smarter than them. You can do this." And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know." And she was like, "Nah, you don't have confidence in yourself." And I was like,
Mm.
"Yeah, I don't know." She's like, "You can do this. You can do this." When I went back to school for my bachelor's, she was like, "Yeah, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it." And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm older." But she's like, "And these people are no smarter than you. Trust me. You can do this." And she was right. I mean, I got my bachelor's, and the same thing with my CCRN. There people are like, "Oh, you can do this." And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know if I can do it." And then I did it, and I got a really high score, and I was like, "Oh, they were right. They were right. I can do this for that. I'm not as old and as stupid as I thought I was."
But I think that that's part of the benefit of being vulnerable with those who are in your inner circle that they then because if you're not, they don't know that you are
Yes.
having some doubts and that you
Right.
need those words of encouragement and that
Yeah.
support because
Right.
you may put on that facade of I've got everything together, I'm in control, when internally you might be saying, I don't know about this. And so to be able to share that with them, I think that's awesome because I know that that's where I am a lot of time. I guess I must get that from you also as my aunt, where I need to be in control. Quinn always jokes and tells me, she says I'm a triple A type personality, not just a type a triple A type personality. But yeah, just in trying to be vulnerable myself and asking for help and things like that. I've gotten a little better at that though. But the one thing I try to remind myself is even I can't obviously control other people, but I can control my response to other
Exactly.
people. And so that's one of the things I
Exactly.
try to do is look at it and not to be uh, some people will say, "What are you like, Mary Poppins or something with your happy response about everything?" And I'm like, it's not even a happy response about everything necessarily, but just trying to look at the positive or to think about what the situation is from that person's perspective. Even this actually has happened a couple of days in a row and just today also where I've been questioned by people at the gym who know that I straighten up the gym consistently, where it's like someone threw a gym party and just left everything sprawled on the floor. And so I post a few videos about it and I try to do a positive spin on it and say, oh, this is my warm up. And I've had some of my friends who are at the gym and they're like, why? Why do you keep doing this? And I'm like, because it's for you all. And I said, when you all come in, you don't have to put anything away. And so then what happened last week was one of my gym friends, I see him straightening up. And it wasn't anything he
Wow.
did, it was what
Wow.
other people did. And he was the one who told me, I don't know why you do that. And he says, you're rubbing off on me. And I think that that's a big part of it also is that, like you
Yeah.
said, the one person does something, the hope is that you'll spread that, and then another person will say, "You know, you're rubbing off on me. I'm gonna start putting other
It's
people's stuff
it's the
back.
it's the whole
Somebody's
the
gotta
whole
do it." And then people are like, "Oh, this is a community. We've all gotta do this."
it's the premise of pay it forward. It's
Yes,
the premise of pay it
exactly.
forward. Again, maybe I can't change the way this man is being president. But you know what I can do? I just found there's a black farmers market out in West Philly. And yes, it's out in West Philly. And no, I didn't need to go out there. But I was like, oh, I heard there's a bake shop out there too that's black owned. So I know that a lot of black farmers and a lot of black businesses are struggling. So what can I do? I don't need to go to this black farmers market, but I was glad that I went because first of all, I got greens, 2 bunches for $2. They were just collard greens. They were fresh and all the sand was already removed because it's summertime greens, so it's different than wintertime greens. But anyway, and I got scallions, 2 big bunches of scallions for $1. I mean, like, huge bunches of scallions for $1. And I said, "You know what?" And I went over, and there was a little, like, jewelry place right next to it, and I'm like, "I don't really need any." And she's like, "Well, we're running a special." I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it." And I went to the Black Bake Shop, and I said, "Do I really need a peach cobbler cinnamon bun? No, I do not." But I saw her and I'm like, I'm trying to do this. I don't need it, but can I make somebody's day just by doing that? And the lady that was in there and she said, "Oh, what brought you here?" I said, "I saw you guys on TikTok." And, I said, "Well, I'm going out to the farmer's market and you're not that far." So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to come out here and get it." And she was like, "Oh, thank you." She's like, "Oh, okay." And I thought to myself, I know that in the big scheme of things, that wasn't a huge thing, but I think it really helped a little bit. And it made me feel good. It helped their business. It helped the black farmers. So I'm trying to do a little bit of one-on-one pay it forward. And I think that
Mhm.
sometimes that might, like you said, we might have an influence on other people and not even know that we are. People who say, "Oh, why are you doing that?" Somebody else might say, "Oh, well," after, a couple of times and be like, "Oh, well, it's not gonna hurt me to go and clean up the gym a little bit. It's not gonna hurt me." And I see why she's doing it. So it's being vulnerable to being a person who wants to make a positive change. It's
Mhm.
being a person that says, what can I do for my time on this planet? Now I'm selfish too. I mean, I don't always, I'm not a Mother Teresa. I'm super altruistic. If I do things for Debbie, that's that peach cobbler cinnamon bun. Debbie ate that. But so yeah, I helped her business, but Debbie ate that. It was really, really good too. It was so good. But it's still a little bit of, can I give a little bit of joy to somebody? It
Mhm.
shouldn't always just be about, what about Debbie? You know,
Mhm.
that's from the Addams Family Values, remember? Yeah. What about Debbie? I wasn't a Malibu Barbie. I was a ballerina. I was grateful. But so just
And so you're
a little bit of altruism, and
Mhm.
I think it helps. I think instead of thinking constantly about me, 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 just a little bit of them. People don't understand. If you donate just of $2 to a cause, how that can help.
Mhm.
Just, that Sarah McLaughlin thing about, just donate $7 a month. Even if you donate $5 that one time, that has helped. Even if you make scarves, like I crochet and do scarves and give them out to Salvation Army. And I remember we used to take Marissa and Lauren 2 days before Christmas, and we would buy scarves and gloves and things and take them to the women's shelter on Salvation Army on Broad Street. And you donate them. And it's just because, and I would have them make cookies to give to their aunts and uncles. Because even though it's Christmas and you're going to get gifts, you still need to think about other people. Even if you're not religious, it's about giving. It's about thinking outside of yourself. What's one positive thing I can do today for somebody else? Even if it's just make a phone call, even if it's just a text, even if it's just, you see somebody struggling walking up the street, trying to carry a bag and you offer. Even if it's snowing and you see your neighbors out there struggling, shoveling, and you can do a little bit more and you say, let me help you do that. I had to redo my railings because the rain and stuff, the rust said, hey baby, we here. So I had to put Rust-Oleum on my railings. So I'm out there and I got it's a quart can, but I've got a quart can. I did mine. I said, you know what? Let me see if my neighbor doesn't mind. I'm gonna ring the doorbell because I don't want to just go over there and start painting. And they go, what the heck? But he's a nice guy, and he's like, oh, that's so nice. You want to do that? I'm like, I'm out here anyway. I'm doing mine. It's not like I'm painting a whole. Like I'm not doing a house. I'm doing railings. It's going to take me about 30 minutes to do all 3 railings, and then I'm done. I'm on my way. It's not a big thing. That's my deed. I felt good about that. I felt like, oh, okay, I contribute to something besides just taking in, and just doing it for Debbie. So I think as humans, if we could learn that, animals, a mother cat will go in the fire for her kittens.
Mhm.
Animals will share. We as humans have got to learn to do that. We have
Yes.
got to learn to be vulnerable to say, you know what? I'm going to help. And even if you think, oh, well, they should have made better choices, or they shouldn't have done this, or they shouldn't have done that, do it anyway. Just
Mhm.
do it anyway. Is it really going to hurt you to help see it carry somebody's bags? Is it really going to hurt you to open the door, hold open the door for somebody? You know, maybe you're preoccupied, maybe you didn't think about it, whatever. But if you see the person coming, is it going to hurt you to wait 30 seconds to hold the door open? And if they say thank you, fine. If they don't, I remind them and say, you're welcome. And I just keep going. It's not and I don't rub it in there. Like, I'm not going to constantly, you should have, blah, blah, blah. I just let them know, you're welcome. And I keep going. And it's not going to stop me from holding the door open for the next person.
Mm.
I'm just going to think to myself, okay, well, for whatever reason, you didn't have manners, you're preoccupied, you got your headphones on, maybe you didn't hear me. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. We got a lot to learn as human beings. Um,
Yes, yes, and I mean, I'm just thinking about where you are now in life. If you had to go back to like your 30s and 40s, where it may have been a different mindset possibly from where you are now, what would you have whispered to yourself then about being more vulnerable and positive?
I would tell myself, stop being so preoccupied with what people think of you. Stop
Mm,
being so preoccupied with what people think about your external. I let my hair go gray at 45. Cut it down and let it grow gray. That was my choice because I liked having dyed hair, but it's just way too much upkeep. Because I would get like that white like patch that like grow out and then you got constant and my hair would just snap, crackle, pop from the dye. But I was so preoccupied in my 30s and early 40s with people viewing gray hair and making comments like, "You're old. My goodness, you look old. It makes you look old." And I was so preoccupied with that that I I I took it internally. Instead of thinking to myself, I would go back and tell myself, "If you want to dye your hair, fine. If you don't, okay. But don't be so worried about it. Don't be so worried about the hair that your hair is gray. Don't be so worried about the fact that you're not a size 7. Don't be so worried about the fact that you have to wear glasses and other people don't. Like now, because you get older, depending on what's wrong with your eyes, like I don't really have to wear glasses as much anymore. Because the stigmatism, the eyeball shape changed or whatever. Anyway, but I would tell myself, don't be so preoccupied with those things. Focus more on being mentally okay. Focus more on being emotionally okay. Focus more on being spiritually okay. That not religious, but spiritually okay. Don't be so focused on the exterior. That's going to come and go. I mean, anybody is going to have days when you wake up and you go, I look like a diva. And days when you wake up and go, who is this homeless person that is staring in front of me? So but don't be so focused on that. Don't make that everything that you worry about. I would tell
mhm,
myself in my 30s and 40s also to be more astute financially. I did a lot of things right, did a few things wrong. Um, but I tell myself to be more astute financially,
mm,
but really more to focus on keeping myself mentally healthy and not worrying so much about what people thought about my exterior, not worrying so much about the comments that people made about it and taking it to heart. Um, and just because as I've gotten older, there comes a point when every older woman or not so much man, but older woman's going to tell you they get to the I don't care club. And it doesn't mean you don't care about anything. It just means I don't care about your opinion of me. I don't care about your opinion about me, how I look, how I dress, how my hair is, what jewelry I wear, to the point of where if I want to wear boots to my thigh, I'm gonna. If I want to wear a above the knee dress, I'm gonna. If I don't, I won't. If I want to wear blue nail polish, I'm gonna. If I want to learn to pump iron at 70, I'm gonna. You get to that point where you're like, you're more focused on you when you get to the I don't care club. It doesn't mean you don't care about your family or your friends, but you're more focused on, I'm focused on me, so I don't care what your opinion of me is because I'm going to do what makes me happy. As long as I'm not hurting anybody else,
mhm,
I'm going to do what makes me happy. And I think that comes with age. I think when you're younger, you are more focused on some of those things because society tells you you should be. And society determines your value and your worth about how you look with those things, especially women,
mm,
not so much men. Men could have a big belly, and be balding. And if he's flashing bundles, people go, wow, he's the man. A female in her 30s or early 40s, society in general will only describe her as attractive or the it girl if she is a certain size, if her hair is a
Mhm.
certain way, if her makeup is a certain way, she becomes a thing. And as you get older, you realize I kind of like my hair real short. And I think for me, that is the freeing time of now. I see women wearing their hair however they want to. I have seen women shave it all off and look like total divas. I have seen women lock it and have it down to their shoulders and look like total divas. I have seen women barefaced or full glam, whatever they decide. And I think that's the wonderful thing about today. When I was growing up, you needed to really fit into a mold. If you didn't, you were the outcast. And, some people could deal with that and some people couldn't. But now you're somewhat freer. You can braid it, you can lock it, you can curl it, you can dye it, you can cut it, you can wig it, you can weave it. You can do whatever you want. You can wear full face, you can wear half face, you can wear no face. You can do whatever you want. And you can wear big bangly jewelry or you can wear no jewelry at all. You can wear your nails cut super short or you can do stiletto. And it's your choice. And none of those choices are judged as harshly as they were when I was in my 30s and 40s.
Mm.
So today is much more freer than when I was in my 30s and 40s. You had a certain thing. There's no way like the locks that people wear now, there's no way you could do that when I was in my 30s or 40s. First of all, jobs
Mm.
wouldn't hire you. Jobs didn't even want to hire if you have braids. They wanted you to have either the wig or the straight hair. That the one or the other. They didn't even want to hire you sometimes if you have bushes, especially in corporate America. But now, like, it's a lot more freer, and you still have instances in some places where you need to have it, pressed down and whatever. But for the most part, I think people are becoming a lot more open to other things than they were in my 30s and 40s. And I see that as a real positive. When I was in my 30s and 40s, people didn't travel as much. People didn't go outside of the country. You had to be wealthy to go outside of the country. And now people are going outside of the country and finding out other experiences and having different foods and different tastes. When I was growing up, people didn't venture as much outside of even their own neighborhoods. If you went down to Little Italy, you were going down there to eat or to go to the Italian market, but you didn't really like stay down there. Some people are moving out of their comfort zone. And so I think that's a positive. In my 30s and 40s, you had a role, you had a rule. You got to remember in 1970s, if you were married, you had to get your husband's approval to get a credit card. You
Mm.
couldn't get a credit card without your husband's approval. I mean, I was single when I got my first credit card, but he had to approve for it. So things have changed a lot with that. Even now, like, men, I think for some men, if they're open to it, it's even freeing for them. You have some men who are like, well, my wife makes more money than me. She has a better job than I do. So I will be the one who will take on more responsibilities for raising the children and maintaining the house. And you have some men that will put him down for that, but you have a lot of men are like, no, I can't. I mean, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I take on more responsibility? If her job pays more and my job doesn't, and that frees me up to do whatever my goal is that I want to pursue. Say you want to write a book or you want to do whatever, and you have this regular job that's not paying that much, but your wife is making 6, 7 figures. Why wouldn't you be the person that maintains the home? So my 30s and 40s, they weren't bad. Don't get me wrong. But I think nowadays it's a lot more freeing for people. The negatives are that back then you could look at news and news was news. Now it's
Mm.
infotainment. And now, as they say, a lie can make its way halfway around the world before the truth is even set up and put its shoes on. So, and it's harder to retract. So now people can say whatever they want on the internet, especially with AI. And all of a sudden it's a thing. And now people have to come back and you have to counteract it. And some people want to believe the truth and some people don't. And so the internet is good, which wasn't a thing when I was
Mhm.
growing up, even in my 40s and even sometimes early 50s, the internet wasn't a thing. It was dial up. But it's a good thing, but it's bad too. Social media is good, but it's bad. I don't know. I guess we got to take the good with the bad. You know,
Yes.
the world is changing. We can't put brakes on it. All we can do is adapt and move forward with it. So
I agree. I agree. And so and you were talking about just advice for yourself from your 30s and 40s. What's a piece of advice that you would want to leave, like for me, our family, or even just people who are just out there in the world to help in protecting our peace while still trying to stay open in this world?
just again, um, don't worry as much about what other people think. If you know you're doing something that you enjoy, be it crochet, be it the gym, be it whatever, enjoy it. Because in the long run, you live with you. If you enjoy doing things with your family, having game night, whatever, make it a priority because time flies. Before you know it, they're gone. They're on their own. They've got their thing they're doing. And then it becomes the cats in the cradle song, the cats in the cradle song where,
Hmm.
you know, I should have done that with you a long time ago. Whereas I know you do all those things because you do the pictures and everything. So you had those memories. But if I were to tell that to other people who are not, I would tell them your job is important. Your job feeds you, your job pays your mortgage. But when you're home, if there's a choice between watching Real Housewives of whichever city, state, whatever it is, for an hour, or spending some time with your family, spend that time with your family.
Hmm.
You can always, record. So used to saying tape, but DVR, uh, Real Housewives, and catch it at another time instead of saying to yourself, "Well, I'll deal with them later." No, spend time more with your family, and learn them because that's how you know when somebody tells you your kid did such and such. You don't have control over everything your kid does, but if you know you've spent time with your child, you spent time with that person, then you have an inkling of their personality. And so if somebody tells you, I saw your kid doing such and such, you go, it's kind of unlikely. I don't think that. But let's investigate it because you spent
Hmm.
time with your child. So I would say you can always make money. Your children won't always be that age. Your
That's
family won't
true.
always be here. Spend more time with them, even the ones that sometimes get on your nerves because even if all you do is text them, because maybe you can't only take them in like 5-minute sound bites, but at least let them know, look, if you're here and you want to do it, I will. There does come a time, though, when you have to let toxic people out of your life and you have to say bye.
Hmm.
So you put in the effort, but once that person has shown you that they're real toxic to your peace, you let them go. I am
Hmm.
not a person that says family at all times, no matter what. I have let people go because you're toxic to my peace. I've tried my best as humanly possible to interact with you, but you're toxic to my peace. And my peace is what I need instead of worrying about you and worrying about your response to me. So let toxic people go. I would say spend time with family, but let toxic people go. And
Yes.
remember, money will come and go. Unfortunately, we needed to survive, but money's going to come and go. But your time here is limited. So
Yes.
do the things that you really enjoy. Do the things that give you joy. Don't do things that don't give you joy. For instance, if you're a person that doesn't like to cook, find a way where you have meals that are healthy, but you don't have to always cook them. If cooking doesn't give you any type of joy, spend more of that time with your family saying, well, we'll have salads, or we'll have, let's make our own tacos. If you're in the tacos, let's make our own pizza. We'll make it healthy. If cooking, like a big, meal doesn't give you joy. If having a spotless house is now on your agenda, keep it decluttered, but, don't spend 5-6 hours all the time trying to do that instead of enjoying family and friends and things you enjoy. Because the house is going to eventually get cluttered again, whereas the time that you spend with them is invaluable. You can't get that back. Once you miss it, you can't get it back. And no parent is perfect. And Marissa will tell you, I was not a touchy-feely person as a mother. I'm not a touchy-feely grandmother. I am not the one that is like, it's like, oh my God. It's the nurse in me. It's like the nurse in me says, I've seen much worse. It's not gushing blood. It'll be okay. We're going to take care of it, but it'll be okay. It's not a big deal. So I'm not a touchy-feely, and I realize that about myself. But the other things that I do know is that I try to still, though, be involved. What do you need? Do you need this? Do you need that? If I'm not touchy-feely, I'm going to make up for not being touchy-feely by doing other things. So you don't have to be a perfect parent. I'm not. I never was. But I've always told her, no matter what the situation is, you can come to me. No matter what the situation is, I'm going to be there for you. No matter what the situation is, before she got married and, they were together in a couple. When she was younger, I used to always tell her, no matter what is going on in your life, if you're involved with somebody and you think it's not right, you let me know. Even if I got to come and get you, I'll come and get you. You never stay somewhere where you know it's going to be dangerous. You never stay somewhere where you know you're not going to be safe. So I wanted to always instill in her that nothing where you're at is going to seem hopeless. So not touchy-feely, but I'm going to be there. I'm going to be beside you. I'm going to be your rock. You need me to lean on, I'm going to be the person you lean on. So no parent is perfect, but do make time. So I would tell people nowadays, make time. Put that phone down for 15 minutes and listen to your kid. Watch that TikTok later. Go on Instagram later. Watch that YouTube later. When your kid comes to you or your family comes to you and says, I got something to tell you, don't say, wait a minute, give me 10 minutes. Listen now. Like, put it away. If you're not doing anything important, like super important, I'm talking about, like, you're building a fire. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, you're like, you're watching TV or whatever. Don't say, I'll come back in 10 minutes during commercial break. Put it on hold, put it on pause and say, what do you need to tell me that's real important? Because it may be nothing, but it may be something where now the person thinks, well, I can come to them and they're going to make time for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell people that that's one of the most important things you can do is to say, okay, what is it? Even if you're thinking to your mind, it's another story about this one kid in school who puts pencils in his nose and the teacher had to tell him to stop doing it. But you're thinking that to yourself, but you're gonna listen because the pencil in the nose story is really important to them. But you're going to pretend to be interested, but they know they can come to you with that. And I think again that you make yourself available.
Mm-hmm.
That show is going to be there, and even if it's not there, really, are you missing that much when what you're going to do is take time to be with your child, your spouse, your family? Are you really missing that much? And I know it's free time. You need your free time. Everybody does. But if it's only going to take 5 minutes out of your day to listen to them, is it going to really take that much out of your time for you to listen? No. But in the long run, the person knows that you care. In the long run. Now, at the moment, they just go, I'm just telling you a story. But they learn that either they can come and tell you a story or they can't because you don't care. You're not going to listen. You're not going to make time because, mommy's on watching Real Housewives, or mommy's watching TikTok, or mommy's watching YouTube or whatever, and she doesn't have time to listen. I would also say that a rule of no phones at dinner time
Mhm.
is necessary. I would say, even if everybody doesn't eat around the dinner time every day, one day a week, sit around the dinner table and talk about something. Or even sit around the sofa and talk about something. Sit in the living room and talk about something. One day a week, just talk about something. Play a game, paint a picture, do something, because that time is how you learn about each other. So I would
Yes.
tell people nowadays, put the phones down for some time with interaction with people. And it's hard. Remember Ellie was 4 or 5. We would be at Sesame Place, and I would see people on their phones while their kids are in line waiting to get on the crazy carousel, or whatever ride. And I'm thinking to myself, it's Sesame Place. Why are you on the phone? Why are you watching YouTube at Sesame Place? I mean, why can't you, if they're asking you a question and pulling it, why can't you just put the phone away? And when you leave Sesame Place, sit and watch whatever you're going to watch. Or, if you're going to do it while they're on the carousel. Take your pictures and
Yes.
do it while they're on the carousel. And then people are like, I don't know where my child went, because you're on your phone. You, it's like people have this, what do they call it, fear of missing out moment. They're like
Mhm.
constantly on their phones. They're constantly like, just when they should be interacting with their kids. I mean, you by yourself, okay, fine, knock yourself out, but you're your kid. You're not interacting, not enjoying, you're not doing anything. I don't know. I, I I don't know. I would tell people nowadays that would be a thing. Just a little bit less screen time. Don't totally get rid of it, because we all enjoy it a little bit, but
Yeah.
not 22 out of 24 hours. I
That's
mean,
right.
there's some people who can't put their phones down at all. Like, not at all. You guys grew up differently than we did. We didn't have cell phones. We had that one phone that stretched from the kitchen to the living room to almost down the basement with the long cord, you know what I mean? Or you had a phone in the kitchen, and then you had a phone in your mom's bedroom, and that was the only 2 phones you had. And then if you were lucky, when you turned 15 or 16, you got that little princess phone thing that you could put in your room. But even then, your parents picked up the phone to tell you to get off the phone. So, times are different, and we do have to adapt. Like, I can't be that lady of, oh my God, there shouldn't be any cell phones for any kids at any time. Because that's not realistic. First of all, it's not realistic. But you can still say, now, no, no, you're with me right now. So we're gonna put the phones away for a second.
Mhm.
We're gonna talk about
Mhm.
something else. We're gonna watch a TV show together. We're gonna watch something that you like. Maybe I don't necessarily like, but we're gonna watch it together. We're gonna talk about it. Like, I do not really like Dance Moms. Eliana loves Dance Moms. I don't really
One of
like it
my
because I
one of my guilty pleasures.
is it
Abby Lee Miller is the best, but not.
so I don't like it, but I'm with her and she likes it. So we watch it and then we interact and we decide, who's the worst mom in Dance Moms, who's the one that's always causing drama in Dance Moms. So it's not my thing, but I know she likes it. So I have her on Thursday and Friday. Why can't on Thursday, even though I don't like it, why can't, as a person, you put aside that you don't like it and say, well, they like it, I'm going to watch it with them. And I think that's what I would tell people. Your kid loves Blues Twos or Blueies or whatever. They love that. You may not like it. You may think it's crazy. It's whatever. But you sit and you watch it. If you watch that with your family or your kids or somebody, and you say, Well, what do you think about that? Well, you try and find something to interact. More interaction, more human interaction.
Mhm.
Because we have a lot of FaceTime, keyboard warrior interaction, for more human interaction, more I
Yeah.
sit and I listen, I talk to you. I sit and I listen and we do things together. More human interactions between families. That's what I would tell people. Um,
That's excellent advice. For even sometimes it's the children who will give their parents a nudge, and note it, and it's not the kid who's on the device, it's the parent, and be like, "Hey, can we do this instead?" And so
mhm,
there definitely or at least I've noticed there's this shift with a lot of children now where they even are wanting to use vintage items and they don't necessarily want the cell phone, but they want vintage cameras and record players and all of this. And I think that a lot of them are longing for that human interaction. So definitely. But before we wrap up, I got one last question for fun. If you were a dog, what breed would you be and why? I'm curious if it's going to be one of the breeds you had or a totally different one altogether.
it would be a probably be a Labrador. I would be a Labrador because I I wouldn't be a German Shepherd because they're always on guard. I wouldn't be a Doberman Pinscher because they're like squirrel, and they're like, whatever. They're like always all over, and then they can be a little bit like fussy. I wouldn't be an English Mastiff because people look at you and they're like, "Oh my God, it's a horse. I'm afraid of it." And Rottweilers, I've never had one, but, Marissa has, and Nate, and Ellie, they have the Rottweiler. And even though he's like a great dog, people look at them and they think, "Oh my goodness, it's a dog from, Damien and Omen and blah, blah, blah." And so they're afraid of it. But everybody loves a Labrador. Everybody loves a Labrador. They're crazy. They're goofy. They're like, all over the place. They love the water. I love the water. But they're excited about everything and they're like friendly. They're like, "Come on, guys, let's do this. Let's do this." They're hard to focus because sometimes I got a little bit of focus issues. I start doing one thing and then next thing you know, I'm up the stairs and I went to take something upstairs and I'm like, "Wow, I didn't know this was dusty." And next thing you know, I'm pulling out the dust rag and I'm cleaning off that, and I forgot the real reason why I went upstairs. So they have a little bit of that ADD, attention deficit thing, but everybody loves Labradors. Like, nobody's really afraid of them. They're just like big goofballs, and I would want people to, like, look at me and go, "Oh, she's not a threat. She's a big goofball. She loves the water. She loves to play, and plus, I'm big enough whereas if another dog came near me, I can still bark. I can still bark. Like, I'm not a little dog where I can't bark and dogs won't pay attention to me. I'm still big enough where I can bark. And humans still, understand that I still have the ability to bite as a big dog, but I'm still just a goofball that everybody
Mhm.
loves.
So, and I like that pick. I like that pick for you. So, what dog breed do you think I would be and why?
I really think I don't think you would be a poodle. Because, poodles tend to be a little fussy. You're not fussy. So I think you would be more golden retriever. I think you would be golden retriever because they're even more Labrador than Labradors are. Like, they're very super friendly, like super friendly. But people look at them and go, "They're elegant." Like a Labrador, nobody looks at a Labrador and goes, "Elegant." But a golden retriever, they look and go, "They're elegant." And you have that otherness about you. Thatness of you radiate good. But you radiate like a sense of, "I am the one too. Look at me today. My hair is heron." You know what I mean? My hair is heron today. And that's golden retriever stuff. Like golden retrievers like and golden retrievers are the dog that everybody loves. and they get photographed a lot. And they again have the ability to be mean, but not really. Like they're just more like, you know what? You're not feeling me, but I know me, and I know I am the one. So I'm just gonna go sit over here. I'm gonna go sit over here. I don't have time to bother with you. And they love to, run and jump and play and do things, and they can be very athletic, but not as much of a goofball as the Labradors. They're more catch my vibe. And that's you. You're more, not as much goofball, but like, catch my vibe. My vibe is friendly. Catch my vibe. Catch my vibe. You catch my
That.
vibe?
I love that. Oh, Aunt Debbie, thank you so much for agreeing to talk with me today. I
No
really enjoyed
problem. No
this.
problem.
And, just to keep that dog analogy going, you definitely showed your belly today. And I appreciate your willingness to be vulnerable and having the courage to roll over and trust. And I'm hoping that people they gained some knowledge from you because I certainly did today. And to
Okay. No
everyone,
problem.
oh yes, thank you so much. And to everyone who's listening, I hope that you take a page from my aunt's book and find safe people and take off the armor occasionally and remember sometimes it's okay to be vulnerable.
That's
And
true.
if my yes, and if my podcast reached you hopefully during a vulnerable moment, please be sure to recommend it to your friends and family and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Tricks My Dog Taught Me. Until next time, when I get into week 29's poem, Affection Pact, here's a lesson from my little guy, Zach the Toy Poodle. Embracing vulnerability isn't about revealing flaws. It's about feeling free to authentically express your true self without reservations. Take care, and I will see you next week.